Did millennials kill flirting? No, they didn't. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. I'm just kidding, of course. Let's go through this article and see what they have to say about the death of flirting. It wasn't caused by millennials, I'll tell you that right now, but we can explore that more as we explore this article. Hello and welcome to my channel. I am the Anti-Woke Warrior. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed. And please watch the video to the very end so I can promote it better on YouTube. It likes it when you do that. Many women dream about how they will finally meet the man who becomes their husband. Yeah, I suppose there's still many who do that, although there's a lot who seem like they don't care about that anymore. They think up numerous romantic scenarios. Maybe he'll approach while I'm sipping a latte in a small coffee shop. Maybe he'll strike up a conversation with me in an elevator. Or he'll spot me on the street and not be able to resist saying hi. He'll approach, we'll flirt, exchange numbers, and the rest will be history. Yeah, can't tell you how many women I've approached and that didn't work with. I can't tell you how many times I've heard I didn't give you any reason to believe that you should come over and talk to me. Okay, so don't put yourself out there, boys, because women don't want you to talk to them. Unless, of course, you're, Brad Pitt or something similar. But in the modern age, it's just not so. Young people increasingly meet online, and the millennial destruction of traditional social mores has pretty much killed flirting now. I was trying to date in the 90s a lot. Let's see when millennials were around. So millennials, 1981 to 1996. So millennials were children through most of the 90s, if not all of the 90s. I mean, very few millennials reached adulthood when I was trying to flirt in the 90s. And flirting was dead then. So it didn't happen with the millennials. You could say it happened with the Gen X. So let's see what we got going on here. Gone are the days of meeting in the park, at a dance, or even at the bar, really. Men just don't approach women to flirt these days, and it's largely womanism's fault. But there is something we women can do about it. Oh, good. I'm glad you're acknowledging that you are the problem. You're the cause of all this. I remember once in the 90s, it's probably 97, I got this girl's phone number. She gave it to me. How else would I get it? Called her up. And the first time I ever called her, she said, you know what? I'm busy right now. Can you call me back in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that? Whatever. Called her back when she asked me to call her back. And some irate man answers the phone asking who I am and why I'm bothering his daughter, claiming he doesn't know who I am. It doesn't matter who I am, that I'm bothering her, and why the hell am I calling her, and this and that and the other thing. Let that be a lesson to you boys. If a woman says, hey, call me back, don't. It's like, no, you can call me back. Here's my number. I don't play those games, and I stopped playing those games when I was young. It's like, no, I'm not calling you back. You can call me back. How we killed flirting. The death of flirting occurred under the perfect storm of the #MeAlso movement, campus intimate assault panic, street harassment hysteria, growth in womanism, and the newfound obsession with consent. No, this happened in the 90s. I think is happening is in this new era here since 2010. Before that, really, but really since 2010, everything launched and all the social media really took off. We're seeing these stories now. We're coming together as a nation, as a world. You can hear these stories from people from all around the world, and they can tell you, look, this is happening to me. And most of the time it's going to be happening in real time. Most of the time people are going to be complaining about what is happening now or in the recent past. I'm telling you about stuff that happened to me 25 years ago. Yeah, they were doing this to me when I was young, before the year 2000. So this is not a millennial phenomenon. During the #MeAlso, the media and social media was flooded with stories of women retelling instances of misconduct. Okay, so here's a perfect example. Misconduct. A lot of that was from a long time ago. They got Brett Kavanaugh and stuff that happened, we're talking like 35 years ago or something? That was not in this century. That was last century. But what started out as tales of genuinely immoral behavior soon morphed into something else. Women were claiming misconduct when a man was simply approaching her to signal his interest. Even if he had done so rather awkwardly or misread her and failed to comprehend her lack of interest, The idea was that he had crossed a line he shouldn't have. Yeah, men cross the lines and women never do anything wrong. This is something that I've been hearing my whole life. I believed it. I bought a hook, line, and sinker that men were the perpetrators of all these bad things. And as I got older, I was like, this is not true. Women are conniving, evil, manipulative, all those things that we don't want anybody to be. Suddenly, the phrase unwanted advance, unwanted hug, or unwanted kiss were everywhere. Despite the behavior being branded as unwanted in many instances, the woman hadn't made it clear that she wasn't interested in the first place. Women seemed to be expecting men to read their minds and claim zero responsibility for their role in holding a boundary. Then they branded the man as a predator. Yes, since when women have all my life expected men to be able to read their minds, I should just know how to behave. No, I don't know what you want me to do. I can't read your mind. This is something that you're going to have to deal with as a man if you get into a relationship, that women are going to expect this of you. You should just know what it is that is right behavior, according to them. Now, many of these women probably genuinely believed it was the case that they were harassed. This is because we have expanded the definition of harassment. In the past, something was only harassment if a boundary had been clearly established or communicated and then someone repeatedly transgressed it. Not anymore. Now the mere expression of interest can be considered a potential violation. This is true. Anything can be considered a violation these days. You simply existing. Remember, there was that case of the college campus student who was banned from the campus. I think he got kicked out of school because a girl said that he reminded her of the man who assaulted her. So she was uncomfortable. Well, that's her problem then, if you ask me. I'm sorry, you have this problem. It's unfortunate. It's tragic. I don't want to see anybody go through that, but it's your problem. It's not his problem. He didn't do anything to you or anybody else. It's the natural progression of the false idea that men are the oppressors of women and should be viewed with suspicion. This worldview has totally killed flirting. No, flirting was dead before this. Here's another example from the 90s. My first job that I got, I think it was actually technically my second job, but I got it a day after I got my first job, and I worked them both for a little while and then ended up moving to that second job. But I met this really, really cute girl that I wanted to date. She started working there after I did, and I would flirt with her, try to get her to, be friends with her, everything, try to get her to go out with me. And finally, those walls started to break down. We exchanged numbers. So I called her up one Saturday morning, and she's like, I just woke up. Can you call me back in like 15 minutes? And I was like, sure. Called her back in 15 minutes and no answer. This is before cell phones were prolific, of course. So I left a message saying, you told me to call you back in 15 minutes. Why aren't you answering your phone? Anyway, I saw her at work. She never did call me back. Never bothered to call me back, by the way. Saw her at work, and she's like, oh, me and my roommates, we just went to breakfast. You should just, call me back later. I'm like, no, you told me to call you back at this time. So this is in the 90s. Women were killing flirting back then. It's like, why would I want to put up with this garbage? Why would I want to deal with this sort of behavior? You tell me to do something, I do it, and you're not there to receive? Forget that. I'm not putting up with this garbage. Before this sterilized culture emerged, we would naturally send signals, some subtle and some overt. I get more overt signals since this started, since the millennials became adults, than I did before the millennials became adults. That acted as clues for us to determine if someone were romantically interested. Maybe we caught their eye across the room and held their gaze. Maybe we smiled at them on the bus. This would be the signal for a man to make a more overt move, approaching us to chat or ask for our number. But why would a man make a more explicit move or start a flirtatious dance at all if he fears he'll be rebranded as someone sinister just for doing so? That is, of course, just icing on the cake of what I've already explained to you. Here's another example. So this is around 2006, 2007. I was working at a Home Depot, and I met this girl there who was, pretty cute, and started flirting with her. She flirted back, so we exchanged numbers. Cool. All right, great. And she's like, yeah, let's get together tonight after work sometime. Why don't you give me a call? Okay. Right before my shift ended, I get a call, and I answer the phone from her, apparently. And this girl was black, by the way. And there's a Mexican dude on the phone. Hey, I don't remember her name, Jessica. I'm Jessica's brother, and she she wanted me to call you to tell you she can't make it tonight, so, there's no point in making plans. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Why does she have a Mexican brother? Whatever. I knew he was Mexican because of his accent. I hang up the phone, and then I go to clock out. And guess who's standing right there by the time clock? But that girl and one of my Mexican coworkers. Shock and horror. I'm like, she was super embarrassed, of course, because it's obvious what happened. This sort of treatment has been going on since, it's been going on for a long time. Women just don't appreciate men. Instead, men now approach only where it's safe, on dating sites, where a woman's mere presence signals openness to being approached. How very safe and tidy. But it also takes a lot of excitement and spontaneity out of life. You're right, it does. And I spent years casually on dating sites, like 6 years. Just like I'd pop on once in a while and be like, oh, anybody out there? Let me look around. Nobody. Okay. Never got any responses, really. I got 2 dates out of 6 years of doing this. And I went on to the dating sites thinking the same thing. I'm tired of, I can just walk up to a girl. I don't know if she's interested. I don't know if she's looking for somebody. I don't know if she's single. I don't know where her story is. How am I supposed to know? I want to do a social experiment with some fake dating profiles. One claiming that I'm taller than I am and one claiming that I'm at my actual height, and see kind of how things play out there. That's going to be, maybe months in the future or years in the future. I don't know. But it's a game to these women. It's about validation a lot of the times for them. They just want to get the validation from, they're not interested in any guys. Girls will go onto these dating sites now, even if they have a boyfriend, but they just want to see that men are attracted to them. Womanism sought to shift the power dynamics between men and women, and shift them it did, right into total sterility. We are now firmly held inside a bubble wrap culture in which women view the mere expression of interest as a potential violation, and men are too afraid to make a move for fear of being branded creepy. And I've told this story before on the channel, so if you've heard it, you can skip ahead a little bit. But walked out of yoga class one day talking to this girl. I've talked to her many times, and I was like, hey, you want to go grab a cup of coffee? We're at the coffee shop here. It's like a block away, right? No, I don't drink coffee. Well, neither do I. Come on, they got other stuff. Well, I'm not dressed for it. It's like, I see people go in there all day long wearing their gym clothes. I got to go study. Okay, well then go study. And then I'm accused of stalking her. So simple exchange like that can lead to, and I had gone to that coffee shop many times with people who were my acquaintances from the gym. So it wasn't out of the ordinary for me to ask her to do that too. Furthermore, she had a boyfriend. I didn't know that. She never disclosed that to me. All she had to do was say, I think you're great, but I got a boyfriend and I'm not interested. So I'll talk to you later. Okay, great. See ya. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. It's too difficult for these women to even speak the truth, just so that they can avoid these situations. Nope, they'd rather feel uncomfortable and then go and tell management that I'm creeping on them. Insanity. How women can bring back flirting. It is definitely women's responsibility to do this. They don't think it is, but it is. The saddest thing about the death of flirting is that it eradicated the air of potential romance and hopeful expectation that a young woman could feel when she leaves her house. If men weren't so afraid to approach us, the right man for us could always be just around the corner, lending our experiences an air of magic and mystery. Instead, that hope is never present. We find ourselves swiping on dating apps instead. Well, it was not really present before. There's this magic mystery. Yet you weren't gonna find Chad. The odds of you actually finding Chad and then living happily ever after with Chad, they're closer to 0 than they are to 1. Okay? So this is the problem. Women have these expectations that they're going to meet the Henry Cavill. They're going to meet these guys that are simply heartthrobs, and those guys are going to love them. And it's every different type of woman, from short, fat, ugly women to tall, slender goddesses. Feel this way. Chad's going to show up and save me. If we want to revive a culture where it's okay to flirt, the onus is really on women to make it clear to men that we're okay being approached in public. Yep, that's definitely something that you need to make sure is clear. That we're either going to accept their offer or politely decline, not brand them as a creeper if we're not interested. Men, of course, also need to clearly read our signals, whether they're signals of interest or disinterest, and be willing to go away when we say no. Yeah, because how many men have persisted and a woman has finally acquiesced? And learning to clearly read your signals. First off, this changes from person to person. And furthermore, men aren't taught to read signals. We're clueless. Believe me, I know. Womanism has told women that we lack power, which is a lie. That's for sure. The reality is that women are alluring, and as such, we hold a lot of power. Masculine energy pursues, while feminine energy responds and receives. Being on the receiving end of romantic advances means we have all the power to say yes or no. We are the gatekeepers of romantic encounters. Yep, you are. If we women want to reverse this culture where men think they shouldn't ever approach us, we need to learn how to be open to advances while also clearly communicating our boundaries when necessary. Instead of being quick to accuse men of predatory behavior when we simply aren't interested, we can learn how to gracefully rebuff unwanted approaches while still being open to making new connections. We could learn when it's time to say no, but also how to be polite while doing so, instead of automatically branding him a creep. For instance, if a man you aren't interested in gets the wrong idea and asks you for your number, you can politely decline, "I'm very flattered, but I don't have romantic feelings for you." Or if he touches you in a way you don't want him to, say, "I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong idea, but I should let you know that I'm not interested." It's largely up to the women to end this culture of fearful puritanism. We need to stop assuming that every time we're approached, it's some gross violation. Women need to remember the power we have when it comes to men. This is where you're going to get, women are not going to agree to this. You can just go up and talk to the average woman and she'll be like, no, men have all the power. In fact, a couple days ago, I was talking to these two women and I said, men are stronger than women. It's the wrong thing to say. We have the power to decline an unwanted advance firmly without treating every advance as an assault. Gone are the days of the sock hop, the disco. Women used to go out into public and men would talk to them and everybody knew what was going on. The women were there to be hit on and the men were there to hit on the women. It was no secret and nobody got freaked out about it. Closing thoughts. The womanist millennial culture that has equated any discomfort with the violation of boundaries has eroded all the fun that men and women used to have in flirting and seeking a partner out in the wild. Many men have responded to womanist ideas that they ought to be viewed with suspicion by refusing to approach women in the real world entirely. Nope, it's much more than that. A lot of men feel the same way I do about this stuff, that it's just too much of a hassle. Whether or not I get accused of something inappropriate is besides the point. It's just the stories I told you throughout reading this article are enough to turn off men, and that's just a tiny percentage of what I've been through. But we can revive flirting if we handle male advances with grace, class, and a willingness to clearly communicate our boundaries. Yeah, there's comments. Let's go see. There's some fun ones too. Let me see here. Congratulations, womanists. You have achieved your goal. You have ruined romance for everyone. Next. Birth rate collapses. Society doesn't have enough children to maintain itself. People panic and elect a dictator and or religious fanatic to run country. Women become slaves to enforce marriage and pregnancy. Essentially, we're headed straight for the Handmaid's Tale, and womanism is the driving force towards that. Yep. Guys, awesome. It's not just millennial. It's all men. Yep, this is my point as well. And it's funny, this thing. The good men got the message and stay away, and the creeps that don't care, that have the courage to still chase. Come on, gals. No, you have to go up and ask. Yeah, it's supposed to say, now you have to go up and ask men out, plan a date, and pay for it. Okay, here we go. Womanism scares me away from women. In my case, I was so traumatized by womanist messages as a young boy growing up that I had and romantic feelings towards men instead of women throughout my youth. Approaching a woman seemed absolutely terrifying to me. I am still in the process of recovery. You see what you're doing with this womanist garbage? And people actually ask me why I am against womanism. You are literally ruining men's lives. You're ruining society. You're ruining everything that we fought so hard to achieve where you have equality, you have all the power. In fact, equality's gone. When you were given everything on a silver platter, that wasn't good enough for you. You needed to have the right to vote too, and then you demanded all these other stupid rights that you didn't need to begin with. Good job. So yeah, I mean, we basically have ruined interpersonal relationships between men and women. Men are waking up to this. You see this all over the internet now with MGTOW and other movements that are happening. Red pill, black pill, etc. There's plenty of guys out there who talk about this stuff like I do. And, you know, we're headed down a road where this could be the end of modern society, the way that we know it. In fact, it probably will be. It'll probably be a turning back of the clock, technologically, ultimately. So let's hope that we can fight against that, and that's why I have this channel. But thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate everybody supporting me. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Please. I really want to hear your thoughts, and I will see you all in the next video.